To examine this issue further, I'm now being joined on the News at 10 live from our Abuja studios by the Special Advisor to the President on Foreign Affairs and Diaspora, Mrs. Abike Dabiri Erewa. You're welcome.
Thank you very much and good evening.
Now, a federal government team which you were part of just returned from a fact-finding mission to Libya. What can you say about the conditions of Nigerians in that country?
Well, pictures don't tell anything. Being in those detention centers, we went to about 4. First, the Honorable Minister led a powerful negotiating team, and he actually conducted very good negotiations with the Libyan authorities, and they were willing to waive everything to make us bring Nigerians back home almost immediately, which we did. And they allowed us access to the detention centers. I'm telling you, it was harrowing. It was surreal. It was so emotional. And walking into the first detention center where we had almost 600 Nigerians in detention there, as soon as we walked in, they were ecstatic. And they all rose up and sang the national anthem with passion. And all they wanted was, we just want to come back home. And we realized that home is the best place to be. And for all of us, you know, even an enemy does not deserve to go through what they have gone through. So we're glad that the President's mission through the delegation is successful. And as we await arrivals of more Nigerians in Libya, we're very optimistic that with the arrangements put in place by NEMA, every Nigerian stranded in Libya will be brought back. So it was, well, it's not the first time, actually. As far back as 2010, the current Comptroller General of Immigration, who was actually the immigration officer at NAPTIP, had been at the head of the delegation to Libya to bring back about 5,000 then in 2010. And I remember that in Parliament, we brought back about 25 that were to be killed. So, but what is happening now that this is the first time that the federal government is embarking on such a massive evacuation. And hopefully this will be the beginning of the end of such torture and harrowing experiences for our youth.
But how do you know for sure that all the people returning are really Nigerians?
Well, the embassy profiles them, they get their traveling certificates, maybe not all of them. And I'll tell you an experience. In one of the detention centers where we saw the women, one of them was a Ghanaian, and she begged us that when you take the Nigerians away, can I come with you? And she gave us a phone number. She was there with a 10-year-old baby, and a 10-year-old child, and the minister said, well, you are ECOWAS citizens. If those of them want to come back to Nigeria, let them come back to Nigeria, and then we take them through Nigeria to their various countries. I believe that that Ghanaian lady, for instance, will be among the next set that will be coming back to Nigeria. So, yes, if we bring the ECOWAS citizens back to Nigeria, not too many of them, through Nigeria, they go back to their countries. But a lot of them, majority are Nigerians, that we're sure of. For instance, there was one of them, we're not so sure. We said, okay, where are you from? And incidentally, she said she was from Lagos State and lives in Ikorodu. I mean, that was quite a coincidence. And we spoke our languages to some of them. And basically, the embassy profiles them, then gets their travel certificates. But there are some non-Nigerians that the minister has said, as ECOWAS citizens, you can bring them back, and then from Nigeria, they can go back to their various countries.
In your opinion, what's the best way to ensure that more Nigerians don't embark on this dangerous trip?
Well, everybody knows that, and you know, we've said it many times, it's government's responsibility to provide an enabling environment for youths to try, for jobs to be provided and all that. But however, you know, you find that this has been a failure of leadership over the years. But under the present administration, President Buhari is determined to tackle this, and that is why he's saying first, bring them back, ensure they are properly rehabilitated and they recover well. For instance, the empowerment programs, some of those that have, a lot of them that have come back, first, state governors are taking responsibility for their citizens. Edo State takes their citizens right from the airport, and so far it's been success stories from Edo State. A lot of them are being rehabilitated, they are going through skills, and some of them are going into farming, quite a lot of them. And as we brought back some of them yesterday, there's an SDG program for returnees where they can go through life skills empowerment programs. So yes, government must provide jobs, and that has to be done, and that is being done under this administration with a focus on tackling security, corruption, as well as improving the economy. That is there, but most importantly is that, one, as we have heard them say at the press conference today, the cartel must be tackled. Traffickers must be arrested and prosecuted. And then also there must be massive awareness. If all those youth you saw knew they were going to go through, they will never have embarked on that journey. And they told us as much as that. So most importantly is that let's each one teach one. Tell everybody that it's not worth it. And parents in particular, who encourage their children, who even sell, their properties to send their children on these dangerous journeys, should be one that it is just not worth it. So it's a potpourri of different things that need to be done. And, talking to those young ones, you could see brilliant young men and women that should not be wasted away. So it's a responsibility of government. It's also a responsibility for every one of us to ensure that, we take care of one another and have a massive awareness campaign on the dangers of such kind of migration.
The Special Advisor to the President on Foreign Affairs and Diaspora, Mrs. Abike Dabiri Erewa, thank you so much for speaking with us.